or single bullet to anything. But in the process of thinking together, in the process of working through this together, I believe personally that God would not allow us waste this crisis. I believe that for as many of us as are thinking actively through this period, we are definitely coming out on top. And that is what this is about. So, having said that, I think we should jump right into the topic. We're talking about how, first of all, this COVID-19 pandemic, as it were, how do we look at it individually? Two, how do we ensure that we understand our government's reaction or government's way of handling the situation as it is? What are the things that government at some point or the other has done? Or let me put it this way, our different arms of government, what are the things they've done, either before now that is going to affect us moving forward, the things they are doing right now that probably would have a lot of effect on you and I during this period and afterwards. And more importantly also would be your own reaction. Because no matter what happens from the outside, at the end of the day, it is your reaction. It is what you do or don't do that will determine the outcome. It's not necessarily what is coming, it is your reaction. Someone once said that you can have two children of a man who is a drunkard. One of them may come out of there, one of them may grow up saying, I would never drink, while the other grows up and says, you know what, this is the life to live. It's not the drinking father that's the problem per se, it is the angle from which each child decides to look at it. So to start, I would like for us to take a look at this COVID-19 pandemic. What is it really? I'm not a medical doctor, but to put it in perspective, I would like to look at this from the perspective that it was first a health problem. It was first, and it's still first, a health problem. That is why everyone is taking a cue from the NCDC in Nigeria, WHO, globally, and other health organizations to say, hey, what do you do? Simply because we all recognize that it is first and foremost a health problem. Now, but it didn't stop as a health problem. It's a health problem that became a social issue. Because now, it has affected our way of life and the things we do and the way we normally would do it. Everyone knows that on Friday in Lagos, by this time, is after 5. The regular gentleman who is a bachelor, and some even married people are on their way to the club at this time, or to go and take a bottle of drink or something before they go home. That is no longer happening. Now, it was a health challenge that is now affecting our social lives. Now, the average person must stay indoors. I use the word average person because there are some people that are still going out when it shouldn't be happening. But it is not stopping there. The social issue has now moved on, the health issue that has affected our social life has now moved on to the economic part of our lives. And that is the real issue. Socially, we can find ways around things and all, but when it begins to touch our pockets and eventually we begin to touch our stomachs, then you realize that the brain begins to take a back seat because then it's a bigger problem. And apart from that, even for those who are surviving at this period, who seem to be having it together, the question is, the world we entered a month and a half ago in Nigeria is certainly not the world we are going to emerge from whenever this is over. Some are looking at May 4th, as pronounced by Mr. President, for us to return to work in Lagos and Abuja as a time to start life all over again. It is not so. It is not so. And I want to plead with everybody, don't take a look at it from that perspective. It is not an opportunity for us to just jump back to daily life the way we used to see it. My point is, we need to start thinking about things actively so we do not become victims of health issues or health problem because we're trying to solve economic problem. in as much as the economy is very important. But let's not try in solving one problem, create another problem. So we need to look at this entire chain from the health perspective to the social perspective and then to the economic perspective. When we are done with this, I would like for us to see all the opportunities from the health perspective to the social perspective and to the economic perspective, and from the economic perspective. My view is from every point or from every of these problems we have, there are opportunities and there are solutions that you and I can begin to do something about and have something for ourselves that would help us be better than when we went in. So, very quickly, the global problem, as we all know, let's put it in perspective. This is not a lecture by any. It was started in, as everyone would say, in China in November, late November. The truth is that within 5-6 days of the cases, the world was aware, maybe not in tune, but was aware that something was afoot. But we all went on as if there was no problem. We went on our daily lives as if there was no issue, from our government down to the individual level. Even up to February in Nigeria, people still went on as if there were no issues. A lot of us had become immune to the things around us. We hear how many thousands of people are dying abroad, and we kept on as if, oh, what's the big deal? It should never come here, like some people will say. But when it did happen, some believe that it will never come to our doorsteps. The truth is, we need to look at this, even going forward, and challenge our thoughts and our stance of these issues so that we don't end up walking straight into what is wrong or what will end up backfiring. Whether you are a Christian or not, it doesn't make a difference. You need to walk into this with some level of knowledge and being circumspect. So globally, this thing started first as an epidemic in a small area. And because we are all connected, which is one leg we all seem to be overlooking, we are connected, whether we like it or not. It is a good thing, but it can have its own negative side if we do not manage it. All the food we eat in our houses today go through a lot of places, go through different hands, through different chains before it gets to us, from the poorest to the richest of us. We are connected in several ways than we know. So it's high time as a nation that we start to think as a people rather than as individuals. It is one of the keys of the way forward, and we'll get to that. So when this started as an epidemic, we moved on, and before we knew it, it became a pandemic. Simply, it's moved to every area of the world as we speak. Even in the villages now, people have what you call coronavirus. Some people call it cholera. Some people call it chorea. But bottom line is everybody's aware that there's something wrong. They may not know exactly what it is, but they are aware. Solution we'll be bringing up later. Now, the health problem moved on, and we realized that it started affecting one thing. I talk about our being connected, and one of the ways we get connected is mobility. We are mobile people, and once mobility is affected, then we started having social issues, and from there progress to the economic issue. Before now, a lot of people would have wanted to travel abroad. We're approaching summer. A lot of people would have been planning summer. But now there's no summer outside this country, except you're already there. That in itself can be an advantage, and it can also be a disadvantage, depending on how you look at it. Now, when this became a pandemic and it came to our shores, Then people started thinking and talking about it. At first, some people were disbelieving, if there's a word like that. Some people just would say, oh, we don't believe it would happen. They were skeptics. And even for those who believed, it was more head knowledge than something they were living with. And then government said it was high time we stopped moving around and we stayed at home. And you all know that a lot of people still, as we speak, are still moving around. And they are agents of moving this thing from one place to the other. Kano's first issue came in from Lagos. Ekiti, from what I hear, also came in from Lagos. Some people came in from the UK, had a party the night before the lockdown and went back to the UK. They came in with something and left something with us. My point in saying all this is that part of this issue we see, or problem we see of mobility, there are also opportunities we need to begin to look at in that as well. When we get towards the end of this, when we start to look at opportunities. From every problem, you need to look at underneath it to see the opportunities that come with it. So this COVID-19 thing has come to stay. One thing I can say categorically from all I've been hearing, reading, and speaking to people about is the fact that it does not care whether you are rich or poor, struggling or comfortable, enlightened or do not care. The virus itself is non-discriminatory. And when it comes ready to do damage. So please let us come from the perspective of those who are circumspect in the things we do. It's come to our land and is wreaking havoc in different areas. Now, the effect of that is that one, organizations are no longer able to do the things they would naturally do to generate some form of production. And without production, money or cash tends to stay in one place. What gets us all out in the morning is not because the amount of money in the country is either increasing or decreasing, depending on how you look at it. It's the fact that money moves around. And what has happened with this pandemic is the fact that somehow money seems to be stuck in some places, while it was more like it stopped the journey of money. Because we people stop moving and doing productive things actively. Some are still productive, but we stop doing productive things in an active way. Money or cash is stuck where it last moved in most cases. Money needs to move around. That is what gets the economy moving. So right now, some people had cash in the bank, they are leaving it there. Before now, that cash would have moved from that bank either to your hands or to mine because we've exchanged some goods or service for the money. The good news in that I see is the fact that once this COVID lockdown is off, it's like we are starting from a line. What are you going to do? Because the economy will recover much faster. Because we didn't go into a recession before it started. What it means is that money was stuck somewhere. Once this is unlocked, it's like starting at the starting block. It's about how quickly the cash can come out for it to start moving around again. The question is, what would you be doing once this thing starts to abate? Where would you be on the starting line? If you don't start thinking about it right now, a lot of people are going to leave you behind when the cash starts to move around, and you only get trickles thereafter. The second thing that happens as a result of this is that social interaction has changed tremendously. From our schools, a lot of people say students go to school to go and learn from teachers or from books. That is not the primary reason children go to school. One of the major reasons students go to school, and brick and mortar schools cannot be taken out of our lives, is because it's a place of socialization. Our children learn more from themselves and their peers than even from the teacher. That's one thing that Dr. Maria Montessori learned a while ago. That children go to school not just to learn what the teachers tell them, but to socialize and learn more from themselves. That is one aspect that has been taken away from the children as we speak right now. So your children and my children are stuck more now on the computer, on the phones that, that used to be a form of socialization and a form of fun for them. They brought the classroom in some way or the other to it for those who can afford it. But there is a large chunk of Nigeria, a large chunk of children in this country that would not be served as we speak right now. It will change later, but as we speak right now, that are not being served or would not be served. A lot of children in public schools will not be served by this thing as it is presently configured. In my mind, that is an opportunity for anyone thinking, how can we serve these children who are presently not being served by this present configuration? That is an opportunity. I'll give an example of that. Sorry, I digress a bit. I'll give an example of that. Isn't it possible for a few people to have some arrangement with our service providers in providing a certain connection protocol, as it were, for children who are underserved, such that, as we speak today, every academic-based system can be identified. So, for example, a lot of us have done online connection to do webinar, to Harvard portal is open for free, Khan Academy is open for free. The truth is that globally, the servers or the computers, let me use that word, serving those educational purposes are known globally. So what stops some people on this platform from having arrangement with the likes of your MTN, Econet, and all that to say, hey, can we have a pipe dedicated as part of your contribution? Partner with the government, partner with these people, and then you will serve the underprivileged with this. Someone will say, oh, why wouldn't we have to buy laptops and all those things? Someone can Google something called hole in the wall. It is an opportunity you can take up if you have connection to government and all that, where you can serve a lot of people without necessarily having to buy so many things. I leave that there. It's one thing someone can start to think about, and you create a whole new world for the underserved or the unserved. While those who are in public school, whose parents can afford this, can begin to deal with MTN and the others using their network the way it is currently configured. Having said that, let me go on. I talked about our productivity has been hampered. A lot of people are working from home, but until there's social interaction, there's little you can do if there's no mobility along with your interaction to ensure you generate the cash and for the cash to go round. We need to begin to think of how you can continue to look at these health issues, all the opportunities there, the social issues and the economic issues. There are opportunities along all these legs as we go on. So it's here, it has changed our lives. There's a lot more going on in the area of technology now. So people will say things like, oh, I'm not technology savvy. You can no longer say that. Learn something about it. Eric Offer was the one that said that in the times of great change, that the world will belong to those who are learners, while those who are learned will be confined to a world that no longer exists. So if you are a learned person, and by this I mean you think you've gone to school and you are okay, you don't want to learn anything new, you are confined to a world that last existed in January 2020. The world we are moving into, this post-COVID period, is going to be totally different, health-wise, social-wise, and economic-wise. A lot of new businesses will come up, a lot of businesses will die, and we're going to create a new world. It may not be 100% different from what you knew, but believe me, a lot of things are going to change. Question, where would you fit in? And you can only fit in when you know. Globally right now, most of the people that are doing online courses, and you have to pay $200, $100. In the past month, they've all, well, not all, but most of them have released their knowledge base for free. Question: while you've been at home for a month or so, what have you done? How many certifications have you obtained? Because it is what you know that will make the difference. The scripture says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Knowledge is what you know that gives you an edge. So if what you know now is what you knew before, there's a problem. We need to learn to more advocacy around knowledge sharing. There are a lot of people that do not know these things. And the more you know, and if you have, say for example, you are connected to people who are less privileged, this will be a way for you to actually chart a new vista to reaching those people in a different way. And you can only reach them with knowledge. So I'm saying, before this global knowledge bases are taking off their free in people, are interested in technology, pick something on data science at this time. That is one of the things that's going to be very important going on in the future. Pick something on healthcare to understand how these things affect us going forward. Pick something on finance, how it will change moving forward. Pick something on productivity and production, manufacturing, and you'll be surprised the many things you can begin to underneath your roof when all these things are, or when they start to ease out. That is where the answer is. This crisis to open us as a country to a new level of thinking. We're talking about ventilators. A company in Israel that used to make ventilators has opened up is what do you call it? The blueprint for the ventilators. It's an opportunity for engineering-minded people to copy that thing, and can we begin to get people together to start creating our own local ventilator? This is not for everybody, but some people are very good with their hands. Some people are very good at putting things together. You will be shocked. Forget about it looking fantastic. You will save someone's life, and if you solve that problem, because no matter how much Nigerian government wants to buy a ventilator, they cannot buy enough based on what is happening. So what if we begin to build our own ventilators? Or from there, begin to build some other apparatus, but you have a basis to start. It doesn't have to be the finest looking ventilator, but it works. Secondly, if you look at some other things that have also happened, okay, I'll give another example. I don't know how many of us have seen some young people, first in Ghana and in Nigeria, where they've come to do hand washing system where you just use your feet to get the sanitizer or the soap in your hands, and then the other leg to get water in your hands, so that you don't have to touch any surface. It sounds crude and it sounds funny, but I guarantee you that is going to be a money spinner moving forward. So if you are the type that is minded to do that, can you get to do something like that and then have a way to maybe go to schools, reach out to state governors, reach out to your local government? You put these things in every market area. You put this thing in every public area, so that when people are coming in, the first, all you need is running water, and for that thing to be changed by the same person at regular interval. So that when people are going into a place, they can wash their hands and they go in there, so that we reduce this. Now, government is talking about reducing the rate at which people contract this or they infect others. It sounds funny, but if you have connection, as it were, to the right people, this is one thing you can ship out to local government areas, and it is cheaper than the cost of curing, if there's any, this COVID-19 as we speak today. And then you will change the way of life. People begin to be more in tune with washing of hands and all that. Sorry, I digressed. So I was talking about the COVID-19 issue as it affects the nation, Nigeria. It has changed, it will change our social lives. People who used to, schools have to be online, but believe me, a lot more would happen. In fact, I think it's a major opportunity for those who can create content for Nigerian schools right now. Because most of the content we are consuming right now is still coming from abroad. Even those who say they are going and doing online learning now and all that, are still relying on content that will nation, Nigerian based, the Nigerian way, and infuse Nigerian solutions into our teaching curriculum. As I said, most of the things that we consider content, even online right now, are still content from abroad. It's a good opportunity. Else, in another 6 months, if we continue this way and there are no content from Nigeria, we will settle down into another way of being slaves again to foreign content 100% again. It is time to start preparing for the start-up line, where if you have a natural tendency to create content for local consumption, this is a good time. Creating healthy content. There are so many unhealthy content that parents are trying to get their kids away from. This is a good time for you to have alternatives to those unhealthy content. And if you're able to do it in a fun and attractive way, you have a captive audience, a captive market that you can reach out to. In social areas, and also as it concerns the economy. Now let me also go to some part of how government and the people are reacting to this, and then what should be your own reaction. So for the government, before now, I do not want to criticize the government, so I hope it doesn't come across as criticizing the government. That is not my intention or intent in any way. The decision of our federal government over time in some areas have not really positioned us properly. But before I go to that, let me also give kudos in the areas that government has done some things right. So I'll give you an example. Nobody today is shouting about rice. Why? Federal government, at the time it wasn't popular, took the decision to pump and give direction to rice production. I'm not saying we are producing enough rice in Nigeria today. I'm not saying that. But in March, all our rice is coming from the Asian country, parboiled rice, before now. Even the rich would also cry right now. But as we speak, the problem of rice has been, or rice production has been solved at least 10% because there was concerted effort to focus on it. That federal government should be given kudos for. I will talk about areas where they've also done very well, because it's not about knocking government, like I said. But in some areas that government has not really done the best. So for example, all the money we were making from sale of crude oil, we were using them to buy refined oil, and we were subsidizing the rich people because it was easy to do. So right now, whether or not we like it, things are going to change drastically. There's a difference between I am able to do something and I try and it is not going to continue. That's the situation we're in right now. As we all know, the sale of crude oil globally has dwindled to pay people to take the thing off your. People are saying, hold on, we're not ready yet. The reason for this is very simple. This is the time for our government to ensure that we take advantage of this crisis and change our ways of life for the better, not until we are forced back. Today, dollar in the black market is anything between 460 if you are buying on the road, or if you are doing transfer, to between 480 to the naira. I mean, naira to dollar. What it means is that it is not a time to focus. It is not a time to focus heavily on buying things from abroad again. To make policies that would help Nigeria's productivity. I know that people talk about power. The truth is this: if power is tied to productivity, power would come up. I'll give you a small example of what I've seen. I was in a state recently to speak on, they were doing some, what do you call it, brainstorming, and I was invited. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that the state was trying something out. I'm not sure I'm at liberty to mention the state because I didn't take permission from them. But this state created like a small park where they are supplying power to the people. But the beauty of what I found there is that they were paying at commercial price. People in that complex were not paying the price you and I are paying. They are paying a premium. But they were not complaining because government was able to provide what they needed to produce. And as they were producing, government was helping them to find channels for buyers. And that made the difference. In fact, they were making more profit than they were going to make if they were outside. The reason is because now they could manage their production. If they're going to produce 20 tons of something for a buyer, they can assure the buyer that you will get your 20 tons in 3 days. Why? There is constant supply to that place, and they were willing to pay for it. My point is this, that production can be managed on a level where if you are the type that have this money somewhere, or you have people you can reach out to, you can actually speak with government at this time and have those parks where people would pay you, because production is going to be more important than paying cheaply for something you are not even getting. Now, you can take that later to residential areas, but I'm talking about for production and for people who want to produce in a steady place, in a steady way, and they can meet their production capacity. You would have off-takers, because I've seen this happen somewhere in this same country. And it's even in other states, not even in Lagos, where you have a lot of other people that want to do stuff like that. Sorry, I digressed again. So government's policy showed us in a lot of ways negative, but the truth is this: a people are deserving of the government they have, pure and simple. The reason is this: everybody on this forum knows one person who knows one person who works either in government. Is not anybody that works the civil service. We all are deserving of the people we have in government because they are us. So rather than continue to complain, which is why I said I don't want to knock government, it doesn't make it right, but we are where we are. And rather than complain about it, I go on to the third one, which is, what do we do as a people to ensure that first and foremost, one, we are safe. Secondly, once this thing is taking over, and once this COVID lockdown is being eased off, we go in safely, but we go in gun blazing, as it were. We go in productive, and we go in making a difference to our lives economically. So first is, what is your COVID-19 situation? As we speak right now, I know a lot of organizations are cutting costs. I know a lot of organizations are laying people off. So that is the reality of where we are, because they're also not getting cash. But whether or not you like it, we are there. What do we do? So we have people that have been laid off. I would say it's tough, but the truth is this: it is how you look at it that would help you move forward very quickly. Some people have not been able to eat because of these issues. Thank God the easing will start from Monday. So how do we start from the starting line and go very quickly? The first thing I'd like to say is this: let us take a look at our areas of strength. Number one, let's look at health. What are the different problems we see along the chain of health? One, if you're a programmer or you do something around computing and all that, it's time for you to start to be that will allow people to connect. This will be a good time for you to begin to build solutions that will connect. This is a time for you to build solutions that will connect people in ways that they're not connecting before. I talked about content. That you can produce. That's one area. The second one, this is opening up different ways of educating people again. Can we think about this and say, what do I do in this new areas where education is now spending more time online? Can we build curriculum that like to teach? And if you know that you can get people together, so what stops you from having a platform where you have the best English teacher from one school do something, the best math teacher, and then you package this in a way that people can understand, where you can use the things in our environment as examples for people, students to learn. Can you reach out to all the students, or you want to package it for special needs students, or you want to package it for a select kind of student? Do you want to focus on math alone or English alone? Think about it and what is your strength, and start to build on it. There are different ways this can be done. 2, we have people who are working and they have slashed salaries, or you have to go and work and all that. I'm saying right now, the way it is, a lot of people will not be able to go back to work immediately. Even if you try, you will not be able to go back to work immediately. So the truth is now that you have a lot of time, or you have a lot more time to yourself than you were having before. I don't know everybody will write a book, but some people have been talking about writing books for a long time. It's a good time to start putting some things together. Some people are supposed to be, some people are bloggers, but they've not written anything. They just had ideas in their mind. This is a good time for you to have your followers or followership to put things out. The things you are taking for granted, some people want to know them and they are going to be willing to pay you for it. I'm not saying it is easy, but I'm saying these are new vistas that will open. In the area of health, like I was saying, you see people, for example, who, a lot of people now are producing face masks. It doesn't have to be the finest face mask in town. But the truth is this, there will be need for face masks, but everybody's only focusing on face masks. What of local soap that is cheaper than what you have in the stores? Why don't you supply soap to people around your area, your estate, your, what do you call it, your surrounding? I know it sounds mundane to some people, but the truth is you need to give to this environment, to the Nigerian economy, what the Nigerian economy needs now, not what you just think. Ask around, what are the issues? What of delivery? As we stop this, a lot of people are going to need delivery to them. Some people will not go to the market for a long time. Can you start to do delivery service for people? But you have to be careful. You have to think about the logistics of getting this done and ensure that you keep your health safe. Oh, so I am a civil servant. What is this man talking about? Can I tell you the truth? Nigeria, one of the greatest problems that would occur as we move forward is things, food items are very expensive. Have you thought about doing some farming? Have you thought about doing some fish farming? Have you thought about doing some, what do you call it, chicken or poultry farming? And you don't have to start with 1 million, like a lot of people would do it. Look, start small and start to generate something until it begins to grow. Are you the type, now a lot of people are having mental issues. Are you the type that like online? You'll be shocked how you start a new line of business from just talking to people. Forgive me for saying this, but I know it sounds funny, but in reality, I do the type that I also like to share news. Would you believe that you can share news in a way that people would get it, and you will reach the right audience, and you don't have to spend some advice or something they can get from me that is not doing it. Someone just wrote to me now that she's produced sanitizers. The truth is this, whether you like it or not, sanitizer will be a way of life going forward. The only difference is this, don't start selling sanitizer to where everybody else is selling sanitizer to. Look for your own market. Because what I find out in Nigeria is that all of us who produce sanitizer take to the same market. Meanwhile, a lot of other people need sanitizers and they are not able to get. So can we begin to do that? It doesn't have to be 1 million naira from the beginning. Start something. Now, a lot of people want quick answers to say, oh, I want to do it today and then make money tomorrow. It has never been like that. It will never be like that. Anybody that comes and gives an answer that is, it may go through to get to the top. One other thing I'd like to also say, please, is savings. And a lot of people say, I don't have enough. What would I be saving when I don't have enough to eat? The truth is this, except for a very few people anywhere in the world, nobody will tell you he has enough. Some people are living in one room right now, and all they pray for is that they get 2 rooms. And once they get to 2 rooms, their needs increases. Their needs increase, and they say, I don't even have enough. The truth is, wherever you are right now, don't waste this crisis. I'm not saying it is easy on you, but don't waste this crisis. Stop looking at the pain and start looking at how do I get out of this? Because once you are out of it, that pain becomes part of your story that would allow you to empathize and to know what people are going through. But don't wish it away. And if you don't work at it, it is not going to go away. In 3 years' time, we'll still be saying the same story. The beauty of a crisis or crises, whichever one, is that when it comes, stop looking at the pain in it and start looking at what to do to get out of it, because you will get out of it only when you work at it. So I talked about making face masks. Whether or not you like it, a place like Lagos, face masks is going to be the thing and order of the day, or the order of the day. So organizations will be ordering for face masks. And guess what? When organizations order for face masks, they're going to order either the ones that is looking stylish, that bears their logo and all that. So when you are producing face masks and you just do it anyhow, and you say, I'm not selling. No, look at your environment and ask, what does my environment need? That is what you should be producing to them. I digress when I was talking about opportunity. Even if the land is big, cooperate with other people. This is the time, and don't go it alone. What the problem is that when you go it alone, you can only do so much. Even when you make money, it's going to be for a short period. Can you go with people who share the same thing with you? And sometimes you don't even have to be the person that will go to the farm. I know some people will say, oh, I've done agriculture before and it has failed. The truth is right now, this is the time. There is a time, there's opportunity, and then there is a need. It's a time, if you've been burnt before, this is a time that I believe God wants to pay you back. Don't let your past or your experience deter you, because there will be need for food as we go on. And don't just stop at producing if you have access to other people's funds. Please go ahead and do some form of mechanization when you have access to other people. You can do some light manufacturing based on what you have. The truth is this, most of the things we need to buy from abroad will become so expensive moving forward. There will need to be local alternatives for them. And you don't have to start on a large scale. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I keep saying that, forgive me if I keep repeating that, but that's the reality. I'm not trying to make light the reality of what is going on. But the truth is this, for those who stay doggedly with it, this is a beginning of an opportunity. Manufacturers learn from mistakes. Don't go and borrow money from friends and family to an extent where you cannot pay back. Even if you're going to borrow small enough to do something that when you begin to see traction, then you can begin to put more money in it. I see people that go and borrow a lot of money, sink into something they don't have any knowledge about, or they have little knowledge about, and it goes bad, and they say, oh, we said so. No, the problem is not that thing is not going to work. The problem is that it went too fast, too furious. There are so many opportunities. I believe that if we sit back to think about it, as a group here, Guiding Assembly has what you call the Youth Empowerment Forum, sorry, Young Entrepreneurship Forum, excuse me. You can join the Young Entrepreneurship Forum, and there you can actually brainstorm on the different areas, looking at what you call the value chain. Don't think of something from just one perspective. We think about it along the value chain. So it's an opportunity for you to join Guiding Assembly Young Entrepreneurship or Young Entrepreneurs Forum, where you can discuss such ideas and you fine-tune them. I talk about light manufacturing, and it sounds like it's just a joke. But the reality is this, whether we like it or not as a nation, whether the federal government likes it or not, we will need to start producing something, no matter how small, no matter how crude, no matter how useless they appear at first. we will need to start producing what we need as a people. Else, there will be chaos. And I can tell you the truth. If you start at the line, if you are one of the first to start at the starting block, you are more likely to get to the El Dorado or to economic empowerment and emancipation as quickly as possible. Lastly, let us save as much as we can, because even as we speak right now, a lot of people who did not save in the past would be throwing away assets in excess of their worth at lower prices right now or moving forward. For a man who has gone ahead to acquire stuff he or she did not need, when there's need for cash going forward, he will sell some of those assets at prices that are that are lower than what they acquired it for. If you've been saving, for example, it's an opportunity for you to think about how you can take advantage of this. Secondly, as well, I don't know if, I hope I will not get into trouble for this, but I'm an advocate for us not saving our money in a depreciating currency. As it is right now, Naira is a depreciating currency. Any fund you are not spending right now, you need to be careful about how you save. Save in a way you can preserve the value of your currency. Preserve the value of your currency as much as you possibly can by checking the value of your currency against other currencies and ensuring that you don't keep money in areas where it's not going to add value to you. Your money should be working for you. If you have savings right now, there's no sense in saving your Naira at 2% per annum or 4% per annum when inflation rate is rising, when the change or devaluation or the value of your currency is plummeting. It does not make sense if your money is not working for you at this time. So if you have cash and you don't know what to do with it, please reach out to people who are producing and add value to the economy, because that is the way we will get out of this. I thank you for listening, and I hope it's been of some use. If you have questions or you have contribution, I hand over to the host to lead us through. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lee, for the amazing session. So if you have questions, like I mentioned earlier, we're all mute, but you have the right to, you have the privilege on the system to be able to unmute yourself. All right. Mr. Ali will be back on leading the conversation, but listen carefully, and then when it's free and open, just unmute yourself, make your comment, and then make sure you are mute again. All right, so that's how we will go from now. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. FLS, can you hear me?
Yes, Inka, I can hear you. Thank you for coming
Hello.
on.
Yes, how are you today?
I can hear you clearly, Inka. I'm very well.
Okay, all right. Good evening, everybody. Please. FLS, thank you very much.
Good evening.
My name is Yinka Nidubelaniyo. Interestingly, I went to school with FLS. We're in university at the same time. So it's somebody I have known for a very long time. Thank you so much for the detailed review you gave of where we are right now and what our world is looking like. You know, it's rather interesting, but every day I wake up, sometimes I'm like, is this the new normal? But unfortunately, like you said, and if we want to be real with ourselves, this is the new normal. And I think this should ginger a couple of things in a lot of us if we're thinking. First of all, you should bring to the fore that health is wealth. That's the first thing. And like FLS said, we need to be careful to be able to juggle health and our economic well-being. It's going to be a real struggle, but God will help us all. This is what I have to say as a contribution to add to what he said, because he said it all. All I can say at this point in time is, I believe from my perspective and my philosophy about life is this: everybody has a gift. Everybody has a gift. No, God did not send anybody empty. And more than ever before, this is the time to look inwards and find out what are your gifts, what are your talents. Because you see, your gift, your talents, and your passion with hard work would become you at this point in time. It's not just hosting, but your superpower. Why? Because your superpower will make you unique. And in that, you would find your purpose. Because like I said, everybody was created with a gift, and everybody was created with purpose on purpose. So more than ever before, the only way for people to survive this new normal is to find your purpose, discover your purpose, and walk that purpose. Because in walking your purpose, you will serve people. In serving people, you will give value. Money always chases value. This is the time to stop just, following the bandwagon of everybody's going to the island at 6, everybody's coming back at 6. You can't do that anymore, because even if you wanted to do that, your office might say, you know what, work from home. Work from home means, you know what, maybe we'll pay you half salary. It was so bad this month that some people got 20% salary. Some don't even know what they're going to get. Some are going to get new contracts. In fact, some people got new contracts with the quarter of some words, tune with it. Rome was not built in a day. Yes, we pray it's easy, but you see, when the destination is worth reaching, the path is never straight. So you just have to keep working at it. And more than ever before, it calls for multiple sources of income. So whatever your hand finds to do, please do. Because you cannot guarantee that the old life you knew is going to be the same thing. And again, what does that mean? Like he said, you need to build new skills, you need to build new talents. A lot of us have things that we know that people are going to are ready to play to pay an arm and a leg for. Let me just give this analogy and I'll get off the line. The other day I was on Instagram and this lady was in Abuja. I just stumbled on her page and she was teaching yogurt making for 1,000. So I was like, okay, let me see. And guess what? She was teaching the course on WhatsApp. I've never actually had a course on WhatsApp. So I was like, how is she going to do that on WhatsApp? Which is again what FLS is saying. You need to come down to the level of the people. How many people have Zoom meetings or can do Zoom meetings in an economy of 200 million people? Very few. How many of us are on this call? Very few, because that's not where the masses are. So I said, you know what? In curiosity, I signed up for the course. It was a Sunday. I signed up for the course like 12 noon. She said, oh, what I need to do is to transfer 1,000 to her account, which I did, and that she'll send me a link to join a group. I signed up like 12 o'clock. I transferred the 1,000 naira to her because I was extremely curious. By the time she put me up in the group, I was number 53. By the time we had the course at 4 p.m., there were 98 people on that WhatsApp group. 98 times 1,000 is what? 98,000. Now she runs that course back to back every Sunday. She doesn't need to run to the island to make her money. Her money is coming to meet her at home, which is exactly what he said. Money is stuck in a particular place. Why? Because everybody saw it as, oh, it's value. If I buy yogurt, I will just make more and I don't need to go to the store. And I don't even want to go to the store because I don't know what I will contract by going to the store. So in a nutshell, we just need to think inwards and be extremely more prayerful, because you see, God has to guide you. You must have the spirit of wisdom. You must have the spirit of wisdom. You must have the spirit of revelation to know what to do. You must have the spirit of understanding. And then you can ask God for power to help you put all this together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yinka. I'm very grateful for that. I'm sure we all got something from Yinka. By the way, Yinka produces, this is not meant to be, what do you call it, but I was talking about the sanitizer. She does that right now because of what, I just use that to buttress what she's saying. That's not what she used to do before, but she does sanitizers right now to buttress the fact that you can actually get to do something new. You know, so I will hand over again to Pastor Emmanuel. And she said one other thing, sorry, I did not have on because of time. And that is the most important thing at this time. We need God more than ever if you're on this forum and you don't believe in God, or you don't think that you need God in your life, I apologize, but the truth, and there's no hiding it, we are at a time now where everything is failing, and we need the wisdom that is different to be different. And if you know that, then you'll be strong and you'll be able to do exploit at this time. And my scripture tells me, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask from God, who gives liberally, who gives generously, and he will not upbraid you, or he will not scold you. Hello, are we still there?
Yes, we're still here.
Yes, we're here.
We are here.
We're here.
I've got a question for you, Mr. Liu.
Okay, so Dr. Pele.
Well, thank you very much for just giving us so many ideas on how we can improve our personal economy. And I see that a lot of those ideas have to do with selling our skills and our talents. I just want to ask you, how important do you see communication skills in all of this? And for those who struggle with that, what are the ways they can build on that? And most importantly, because the strategy for communication is changing, there's a lot of physical communication, face-to-face communication that is now really virtual now. So what are the ways in which we can build these skills? I mean, what you're doing today, what Yinka is doing, what many people are doing around the world, the foundation for that is excellent communication. How do we build this at this time so that we can build our personal economy?
Okay. Dr. Pele, thank you. For disclosure again, Dr. Pele and I were also in the same class in Ife, just for disclosure. Thank you very much. For every issue we have, there actually is economic benefit somewhere else. I'm sure there are people on this platform today that have the gift of teaching people how to have communication skills, or teaching people to hone their communication skills and get it better. They even have curriculum. They have everything, but they're just keeping it and thinking, hey, who needs this? But what you said right now is one of the keys going forward. Communication is going to come to the fore right now. You can hardly get anywhere in this new world we are going into when you do not have communication skills. So I'll look at it from two angles, if you don't mind. The first one is the opportunity for those who already have the skills and are gifted in teaching, and are gifted in passing this across, and are gifted in helping people to be better at communicating. This is an opportunity for you. You can start master classes for communication. You can start classes to teach people on how to do presentation, on how to gather groups together and help them to hone their skills in public speaking, in writing, in presentation, all gamuts of communication areas. That is for opportunities. And you think people don't need it? Believe me, that is the new currency, apart from data, communication. And we communicate in different ways. Is it management communication? The truth is that most managements now suffer from lack of proper communication. So you are the MD of a company, you just talk anyhow to your staff. That is going to change, because right now there will be mobility in a different way. Your best staff would now have opportunities to go somewhere else if you talk to them anyhow. So the truth is that even management needs to learn communication. And the truth is that if you are someone gifted to teach management communication, this is an opportunity. If you are the type that is gifted in communicating to the masses, believe me, government wants to reach the masses one way or the other. They will come to you when you have been doing the work in the background to reach the masses in the way they can understand. So that is the opportunity part. The other part is for those who want to learn. One of the things I can tell you categorically is there are ways to learn. There are opportunities to learn online. And like I said, there are also people who are even doing this, who are coaching, because you would need it. So you can start online. I'm sure there are people on this forum. If we keep this group, for example, I'm sure there are people who can say things they do. One of the things I always like to do when you have this opportunity is let people put together what they do. So share this an opportunity. Let's not waste this opportunity. Can you share what you do so that if somebody has a need for the things you do, the person can scroll through and say, oh, this person is a master communicator or has something. Like we said, Yinka is just producing sanitizer right now. If she puts on this group or in the thread of this thing, oh, I produce this and all that, you can reach me here and all that. That's all. You don't have to make yourself a nuisance. You put that anybody who goes through this later will say, oh, I need a sanitizer, I can go to this person. Oh, I need somebody who teaches me, I need to be better at communication. I go to this person. So you see, you are creating another economy within this. And that is the way economy grows. Like I said, cash is stuck somewhere. Right now, some people have money in the bank that they are not willing to spend. Why? They want to spend on essentials. But the truth, when they see value, they will remove the money from the bank and transfer to you. And that is what the economy is about. Dr. Pili, I don't know if I've answered your question in any way.
Yes, you have, and actually you exceeded my expectations. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much. Any other question from anyone?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
FLS, wonderful presentation, wonderful perspectives, and trying to at least tell people for a fact that the world we're entering is not going to be the same world that we knew. The fact is that we used to say that disruption is the new normal, but now disruption is everything.
Absolutely.
We were expecting 5G to come and unsettle the whole market, but now Corona has come and unsettled even our way of interacting and living. I can't go outside my house. I can't do anything anymore. And when we get back, it's going to be interesting because I had a hypothesis and said, look, this is one pandemic. Supposing something like this happens again, what do we do? Do we now reboot, do all these things we're doing again, or are we going to figure out a better way? So it's like so many things ahead of us are going to change, and there's no way of even saying it because I mean science has taught us that you can have a time frame to something. There's no time frame to this corona. That's the truth. There's no time frame. We can't say it's going to end in 6 months. It's going to end in 2 months. It's going to end in 1 week. Even the government itself is confused. Even the United States government itself is confused on what to do. If you really take away all the fluff and everything that's going on, they are confused. They're just taking it one day at a time. So I think, before I get to my question, I just want to say that everybody out there, just like FLS was saying, we need to have faith in God, because God wants us to take everything one day at a time. Give us this day our daily bread. That's what he says. And he wants us to attribute everything to him, have trust in him. That's rightly, like the other lady said, Yinka, I think, whatever it is God has planted in you, it has a time which is going to be very, very useful. It's over and over in my life that has happened to me. There are things I may have, but they may not be useful when I get them, but at some point in time, they will be extremely useful. So right now, in every one of us, there's some skill, there's some knowledge, there's some understanding, there's some set of ingredients we have that are going to be useful in the days ahead. So I think we all need to go back, reflect, and understand, what can I do in this time? Now, to get to my question for FLS, let me not take too much time. The issue with selling products is that one of the key components you have to get around or understand is distribution and marketing.
Yes.
Now, this situation we're in has thrown up a huge challenge in distribution and marketing. Yeah. You understand? It's like on a normal day, you'd be able to say, let me go and meet A, B, C, D people who I have a feeling would want to buy my products or would help me distribute them to their own set of networks and everything. But now we're at home. Even when we start going out from next week, I don't think people are going to be too disposed immediately to see Mr. Michael coming to their shop wearing a face mask and saying, I have products to sell. That isn't what's going to be the first thing on their mind. So, the way I look at it, distribution, marketing is going to be a challenge. Access to markets is going to be a challenge. So I just wanted to hear, I don't have the answers really. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. How do we overcome the marketing challenge? It's like I said, disruption is the new thing now. Even our brothers in Onitsha, or our brothers in Trade Fair Market, or our brothers in Wuse Market, the way they sell their goods will not be the same anymore. The way they import their goods will not be the same. So marketing as a whole is going to have a huge upset. And we need to also be well positioned to understand how to come out of that. So I also wanted to hear your thoughts, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, you brought up one huge area I see opportunities. And I think whoever gets onto this and cracks the code is in for a major ride. And I mean that. I'm saying you can literally create. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, but I just wanted to contribute to that question, sir.
Okay, you want to ask question or you want to answer it?
Yeah, I want to answer the question. Okay, so this is, thank you, Bumi from Lagos, GLA Lagos, Bumi Oje.
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
thank you very much. Good evening, sir. Okay, so
evening.
I just wanted to say, well, the world is changing, and one of the things that we're going to be adjusting to is the technological change. Like you said, if we begin to imagine that we are learned, we have acquired all the knowledge and don't need to improve ourselves, then we'll find out that the world has moved past us. So it is time for us to reinvent ourselves. Today, we have parents assisting our children to do online classes, whether they're going to resume and repeat or resume and just do a brief revision is another issue, talking about the school calendar year. But then as parents, we're finding out that we have to adapt to using WhatsApp, using Microsoft Teams, sitting with our children, assisting them, coordinating the learning process. So also it is for marketing. It's not going to remain the same way it was. Today, you want to sit in your house and have the bike man deliver to you some kilograms of beef or some vegetables. You don't want to go out there and mix up with people because of the rate of infection of the COVID-19 and the way it spreads so fast. So marketing is going to be a new phase. It's going to go online. It may be WhatsApp, like Sister Yinka mentioned something about learning, putting up adverts for how to learn yogurt making on WhatsApp. It may be on Facebook, like this presentation is happening live on Facebook. It's also on Zoom. So we have to break it down to various levels. It may just be jingles on the radio, and you don't have to go over to the office of the company to pay. It may just be a 2,000 naira, 2,500 naira running 5-minute jingle on the radio. So it would have to come to that level where people listen, because we're trying to break away from physical interaction as much as possible, because we have not gotten to the stage where we're saying that a control, the spread of the disease is now under control. So people, even parties and all our social life, everything still has to gradually materialize back to what it was before. So we're not going to do so much of online physical marketing, but rather online, Facebook, WhatsApp, and all of that. And then maybe word of mouth or one-on-one broadcast on your phone, even text message. So I think that is how marketing would go. And then the media, the normal print and television media, I think that would just be it for now, until there's a total face-off of the COVID-19, and then we can say it is safe to go from door to door to people's houses. Thank you. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. I'd like to take it a bit further from what you said. Please, I'd like to do some disclaimer also, or is it, what's the word now? Anyway, to put a caveat to this. Life is not going to be a 180. People will still do face-to-face, whether or not we like it. And some things will still go the way they are meant to go. The truth is, most people are able to do, okay, let me put it this way. In Nigeria, which is where I'm very familiar with, and I'm not going to talk about other places that are not going to be I'm not going to go outside the shores of so that we can contextualize this. Whether or not we like it, in this country today, there are 3 stratification for every Nigerian. There is the high income liquid people, and what I mean by that is there are people who make very high amount of money and they have cash. Liquidity is cash. They have, I'm not talking money, they have cash that you can touch. Some people, you go to their homes, they have $1 million in a tank. There are a few people like that, high income liquid. What that means is that if they see a house they want to buy, before you go back and forth, they will say, don't worry, I'll write you a check, or they'll tell you, come to my house this evening, collect cash. There are not many, but they are there. You have another group of people called the mid-income illiquid. Mid-income illiquid means those who go 9 to 5, your regular banker who wears tie, if he needs 1,000 naira, he can get it, but he doesn't have it. If he works from 1st to the 31st, he knows that they will pay him 200,000 naira, and so he can go ahead and flex his motor and buy fan and buy TV that is 500k, because he knows that out of that 500k, he can pay over 7 months. So he can buy those things. He doesn't really have the cash as much, but he has access to cash. That is mid-income illiquid people. And then you have what you call the low-income illiquid people. That means the regular woman that does not, if she does not go out today, cannot eat. There is a low income, and they are also illiquid, which means that for every naira that gets into their hand, they must make it sweat. The truth is this COVID-19 has put all of us in the same boat, and the way we buy things are different, or we're different. For people who are high income liquid people, they buy for convenience. For a man who has a lot of money, you won't tell him, Oga, this one is 20 naira, that one is 21 naira. You are trying to save him money. He will look at you and even think you are insulting him. The more expensive, the more it shows that is whatever. In fact, he will pay extra 50,000 naira just because the thing looks better. Because for him, it is convenience, it is for class. It is, you sell me something that is different, that makes everybody knows that I'm different. Why would somebody spend $1 million on a car? Is it not the same 4 tires? But for him, he has the cash. So he's going to buy for comfort, convenience, and for class. For the mid-income illiquid people, what they buy more of aspiration. That's why somebody who is earning 200,000 will go and live in a place like Lekki, where he's paying 5 million, where he would struggle. But he has to keep appearances. It's not, I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. It's just a reality. Now, what you sell to those who are mid-income illiquid is aspiration. You sell something that makes them feel good, that they can also belong, even though they don't have the money. And such people like that, you give them credit, they'll be happy, because they cannot afford to buy a car once. But they know that if you give me this car on credit, I can pay over time. So they still are proud owner of car, but they are in debt. Then you have the low income and liquid people. They cannot afford to buy data like you and I are buying. If they want to buy data, they will buy data of 50 naira today. They will finish using it maybe tomorrow, next tomorrow. They will go and queue again and buy data. But you and I, you will rather just buy the data and say, okay, let me buy per month because it's cheaper. The problem is that those who are low income liquid, they pay much more for the same thing than those who are high income liquid and high income and mid income liquid. So right now, I am saying this, that you need to put a caveat. The solution you are going to be bringing out, don't let it be one size fits all, or else you will not be selling. So right now, I'll give an example. For someone who wants to sell to high income liquid people now in this environment, I would say that convenience is still very important to them. So for them now, they don't want to go to market. For them right now, they are afraid of COVID-19. And because of that, if you can assure them that, Oga, I do concierge service, or what you call it, you will know about 15, 20 of them, and you tell them to give referral by word of mouth, that anything you want to buy from the market, don't bother going. I will be the only one to knock at your gate. I will make sure that I deliver your clothes to you. I will pick your clothes for dry cleaning. I will bring your, what do you call it, to you. I'll go to the market and supply your whatever. Just do a list, send it to me online. I will bring it for you, and I will send and I will set you up. People like that will buy it from you. You'll be surprised if you have 10 or 15 of such customers, you are made under distribution. Because your commission on it, they won't mind. Because as far as they are concerned, you are the only one. So they will not bring COVID-19 to their house. And because they know you, as you are coming, they can put whatever. They don't want to be dealing with everybody. You want to do, they want to buy clothes, they want to buy this. They trust your taste. They will give it to you. That is what you can sell to them. So if you are the type that like to shop, believe me, that's one way of making money. Can you position yourself as the person to shop for big people? And because you also have taste, of course, when you are going to their house, you also not dress shabby. You also must show some form of taste. That is one way of making money. If you don't mind, if you like shopping, make money while you are enjoying what you are doing. For the mid-income illiquid, they can still reach you online and all those things. I'll give an example. In this forum, as we speak today, a lot of people like to eat fruits, healthy living and all that. The truth is, how many of us have fruits at home today, now, as we speak in this lockdown? And even when it starts to ease, can someone just say you want to do some form of mini supermarket in your place? I want a supermarket, not the one they walk to you. I'm talking about the one you take to them. You tell them, hey, I'm creating a list of people who need things. I create this list. Everybody put in what you need for me and give me the time you want to deliver. I will deliver it to you at this period, You do the work and then you deliver it to them. I know it is not easy. I keep saying this. I'm not saying things because they are easy. I'm saying that if you keep at it, this is going to be the new normal. And therefore, the low-income illiquid people, they will go to the market themselves. No matter what you do, they will go to that market. Why? The amount you charge them as extra is enough for them to buy more things for them. So for those people, the way you do it is the more, if you have to go down to the essentials for them. And that's why people who are doing things around agriculture and all that, you tell them, Mama, come and carry things from the farm directly and go and sell. They will sell it for you and they will make money for you. I'm just trying to say that it is not going to be the same thing for everybody. And then if you look at in Asia, I'm not certain which country it is again now. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If I say it wrongly, but I know it's between South Korea and Japan. And I know that China has even gone some way on this, where a supermarket is no longer the supermarket where you go and pick stuff. When you are going in the morning, you go into a supermarket, you drop the list of the things you want. Before you get home, somebody has dropped it for you. So if you are on your way home and you want to get things, you don't need to go and be queuing in the supermarket. All you need is just set up a list and then send the list to them, and then they will drop it for you at home. Someone can build an app if you're an IT person. That's one way you can build an app and do an online supermarket. There are 1 or 2 supermarkets now in Nigeria online, but them. What's stopping from aggregating all of them instead of this one has its own, that one has its own, this one has its own? Why don't you aggregate all of them and help them to? And guess what? Don't compete with the large ones. Do it in your local environment and say, my people who can deliver this to you with me. So why the big one will take 4 hours to get to them? You get to them in 20 seconds or 20 minutes. And that way, you are going to create your own thing. Why? Because the big ones, they are going to be dealing with so many now that their back order will begin to increase. That's an opportunity for you to step in and begin to do your local and begin to get some money. I don't know if it makes sense in any way. Please, I've taken a lot of your time. I'm sorry for that.
You made a lot of sense. And even, sorry, you made a lot of sense. I opened our eyes to a whole lot of things. In fact, it is grace of God that is your seminar of charge, because you've given us a whole lot of ideas for business. And one area you just really opened up to is it's not just the products themselves, but the services that go along with it. You mentioned concierge, and you mentioned so importantly delivery, logistics. You know, yes. Just like you said, like for instance, a big supermarket like what's that supermarket? H Medics, or just to take it in our local area here, a H Medics or an Urban or a ShopRite expects you to come to the supermarket. But the model is changing right under our noses right now. Not everybody is going to want to do that, even after the COVID-19. They look at it as why should I have to go to the supermarket? Let it be convenient. They should come here. I'm ready to pay the extra 100 naira or 200, deliver it to my house. So that is a business opportunity. Who is going to provide the motorcycles? Who is going to hire the guys that will go around? Who's going to hire the service? Like maybe a small localized Uber that tells the motorcycles, go to this place and go to that place. So that's on its own. In fact, you've given us Expo. That's a huge opportunity. So God bless you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And if I may say this, there is one thing I see in Nigeria that stops us from growing, and that is the fact that there is a mistrust of ourselves and we do not cooperate. So we end up destroying value in the process. We want to do it alone. One of the things I've learned in my life is 100% of zero is zero. Anybody who knows me knows I'm always saying that. I would rather lose value to you after we have created it than not create it at all. A lot of us are afraid of losing value to that. If I create this, so now I don't trust that person. They will chop the thing. They will do the thing. The truth is this: when God gives you an understanding and you create a value, that is not the end of the world. If somebody takes it from you, you will learn from there in your next line of value creation. But we are so afraid that even the small one, we will stop it from happening because we don't trust the next person. We need to get out of there. Do you know if God gives you the ability to create, it does not stop the pipe from flowing. Once God gives you an ability to create, it starts to flow. And the more of it you use, the better you get at it. My concern is as a country, we do not cooperate. We are so busy fighting ourselves on value not yet created, and that we end up destroying stuff. And then people will come from abroad. They will just pick one or two people, collaborate with them, and create value on a massive scale. And then we'll all be talking about, I had an idea last year. I had an idea 20 years ago. Meanwhile, somebody is taking the value out of this country. It is time we all started to cooperate. Even if as I'm speaking today, I want to cooperate with you. If you want to steal the idea, go ahead and steal it. If you steal it and you make it work, you will have made somebody's life better somewhere. It may not be my own, but you will have made somebody's life better. And it's high time we stop thinking like, oh, it's just me. It must be about other people. Like everybody who knows me will tell you, my definition of poverty is not somebody who does not have cash in his pocket. My definition of poverty is somebody who only fixes, who is fixated on himself. It's all about me, me, me. If you truly want to be rich, take your eyes off yourself and start focusing on other people's problems. It is the beginning of riches.
Hi, FLX.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
It's really awesome. This is Elizabeth Onifade.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. The point I want I'm taking with this period is the fact that we need to diversify. It's very key in business. That's one thing I've learned about this COVID pandemic. And then another thing that we can work on, what we have lost, most importantly, is trust. Trust. Yes. A lot of people will not trust, as much as before. And so they want to deal directly with people they know. I'll give you an example of what happened throughout this period. And you really hit the nail on the head, because I started right in the house a distribution point for the people within my environment, and it extended to other estates. So because they trusted, we sold out fish in the farm, and there is also back order for farm fish that are going to be table size in 3 weeks' time. They have ordered already. That's because they want it directly through the person they know. So I got in touch with some other friends who have farms, who have chicken, who have free range, eggs and all that, and the prices are reasonable. The key is, I go for bidding, so I understand how to bid. If somebody is selling an egg for 900 somewhere else, and you can sell for 890, 870, people would rather deal with you than deal with the 900. But because of the COVID situation anyway, except for transfers, people don't want to handle change. If somebody is owing you 100 naira and you go shopping, you just say, no, don't worry. You just want to let it go. Now, I believe we have somebody who, because I got in touch with one of our pastors in GL here in Abuja, who has a dispatch company, and I said, look, these and I informed other people that, look, you have between 500 and 2,000. Because I asked him, as far as Buhari, since we are in FCT, as far as Buhari, what's the most expensive charge you're going to put on top of service? He said maybe 1.5 to 2,000. And somebody would rather pay that money than get infected, because the cost of even seeing a doctor is nothing less than 5,000 thereabout. So
Exactly.
nobody wants to go through that. So they'd rather deal, just like you said. And before you know it, people are now asking me for other things. So I just call on those who I know and who I can trust. And another thing that is very important is that you must disclose. If you're not sure of where you're getting what from, it's important they know, because that they can know that, okay, look, this person I'm trying to get this stuff from, I'm not too sure, but I'll confirm. I mean, we had to ask the person to do a video of their ponds when we sold out and all that. We wanted to see, and of course I didn't want to go that far to go and inspect as I usually would have done. So what am I saying in essence is that, like you have rightly said, somebody said passion, but then look for immediate needs, because immediate needs, then you solve it. Be a solver, be a problem solver. Like you just said some few minutes ago, there was something that happened, and I said, anytime we have opportunity for a conference or something, I'll bring it up. There was something that was posted and had to do with assessing funds. And I realized that a lot of people were aware of such things and they kept it to themselves. Just like you said, some people think that they are eating alone, but it is a sense of poverty that makes somebody think that another person should not rise. My own philosophy is that when we all rise, nobody falls, because when everybody is making it, when you're about to make mistake, the mistakes you're about to make, somebody has made it, quickly they inform you. So information is key. As little group as we are, we need not hoard information amongst ourselves, because that's how we grow. That's how there's wealth in the midst of the desert and all that. I think I've said as much as I can say. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you very much, man. I'm very grateful. In fact, you hit a lot of issues and you touched on them. Number one thing at this time that is going to be important is trust. That's why I talked about your local area. Trust is very important. In fact, one of the greatest commodities right now will be trust. For a lot of people now, they will not allow you to come to their house if they don't know you from madam. You may be the best workman, but if they don't know you, they will not allow you to come. Even when you come, the way they will be treating you, you will think you are smelling. It's not you, it is trust they need. So if you've built an ecosystem of trust, this is the time for you to milk the trust. It is very important that you begin to look for ways to get value out of your trust. For a few people, I don't define money as just cash, because money is much more than that. And this trust is one of the highest level of money in town. And that is what you call credibility. Another word for credibility is trust. So please, if you have an ecosystem of people who trust you, ask what they need. And the truth is that everybody right now would have some basic need. Start from there. What do you enjoy doing? What is your passion? And what can you do without complaining? Look around and look for a way to turn it around. I know that God would help us to go through this period. And please take care of your health. It is very important. One more thing, I know our time is fast, but okay, actually two things. The first one is, please, we need to be careful at this time, because a lot of people are going through pain. When the stomach and the brain are in a competition, the stomach always wins. No matter how fantastically brilliant you are, when you are hungry, your brain takes a back seat. Right now, a lot of people are being shortchanged by their environment. They are angry, they are bitter. There will be a lot of security issues. That's another opportunity I see. There will be security requirements in every area you go right now. If you are a security person, or you are the type that are just attuned to things like that, there will be security consulting going on. If you put yourself out there as a guy who understands, People will reach out to you. You'll be surprised how many organizations right now will be reaching out to learn, because organizations are also learning new things now that they are grappling with. The difference is that while as an individual you grapple on it for yourself and your family, organizations will have to grapple with it for a lot of people, and they cannot afford to get it wrongly. So most of them now will be reaching out for consultant. Of course, they will go for the big ones, but the truth, if you show yourself right now as the guy who knows, especially local understanding, if you have what you call the in-situ organization, means the situational understanding of this environment. I will not go and bring someone from what do you call it, the US Army to come and show me what is going on in this my environment. I rather trust a local policeman, even though I may not like him in quotes, but the local policeman in this area knows more about the area boys here than the military man from America does. It may not be the brightest, but guess what? What is going on here now? He knows more about it. The same way, there will be security requirements. Show yourself as the guy who knows. People will reach out to you. I say it again, on this platform alone, there's an economy. This one we're talking about, just of what's here. There's an economy on this platform alone. Please don't go away without dropping something about yourself and what you do or what you can do. People may not see it now, but when they go back and start to look, oh, I need someone to get me fruits. Oh, this person says they sell food now, they can get fruit. Madam, please, can you get us fruit in this area? And that might be the beginning of a business for you. Don't waste this opportunity. Don't just drop what you do on this platform. You sell sanitizer, you are a communicator, you can do coaching, you can do those things. And drop it here. Let's not waste this opportunity, because that's what we do. We talk about it, we go away, and then we've lost the economy there's an economy created here right now. Lastly, and that's the last thing before I guess the person in charge takes over, that's Pastor Emmanuel, is the fact that things are going to be changing very rapidly. People are learning. Everybody's learning. Please focus not just on today, focus on tomorrow. If you focus on today, today is already here with you. If you are hungry today, today is already here with you. Focus such that if you go to bed hungry tonight, tomorrow you have something to eat. That is the mindset. If you only focus on today, it will deprive you of the ability of tomorrow. And that tomorrow will come and you'll still be in the same situation as today. What I would like to leave with you is I'm not downplaying the situation you are in or that I'm in. I'm just saying is that you are, as someone will say, we are where we are. So what next? Seek knowledge, seek direction, and then run with all your might once you know the direction is right. Thank you for your time, everybody. Pastor Emmanuel.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ali. We are grateful. It's been an amazing time, amazing session. Thank you so much also to everyone who has participated in the session. We are grateful, glad we could have everyone here. And it's been an amazing session, everyone engaging. This is just the first of several sessions that will take place. So I would like to announce that next week, Thursday, we'll have another session. We have a lot of professionals lined up. Some of the sessions will be interactive sessions where it's like a panel discussion. So we have all that planned. We'll have another session next week. So stay tuned. Now, to be able to be in touch with everyone and communicate, because we're not ending this year, this will continue. What we have done is I have shared a link to a Google form for everyone. I've just shared that now to everyone. Kindly copy it out and provide your details to us. All right, so we can maintain the group together and build on from here as we all try to navigate the COVID-19 crisis, the economic aspect, health aspect, and all that we have to move forward. So thank you so much. We are grateful. Provide your information. We will be in touch, and then we will be back in next week. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
God bless you too.